military, one of the principal liberal arts and sciences. This goes back to the origins of Freemasonry. Every lodge has a warrant or authorization from Grand Lodge that it's bona fide. It's a very precious part. If a lodge loses its warrant, it has a big problem on its hands.
How can it do that?
Well, there could be a fire.
But can you have your warrant taken away from you?
You can. If you're very naughty and you do things that Grand Lodge don't like, then yes.
Freemasons are well known for their care for each other and for their charitable work in the world outside Freemasonry.
From the earliest days, the lodges have collected money for benevolent purposes. Initially, of course, to look after perhaps a brother who'd fallen on hard times. And this gradually expanded into a number of charitable trusts which benefit non-Masonic organisations. And they give huge sums of money to non-Masonic charities, often for disaster relief or for medical research and that sort of thing.
The windows in the Kent Museum of Freemasonry were rescued by the Cornwallis family, who are great Masonic benefactors in Kent, from the original Freemasons' Hall in London when it was demolished. A new hall was later dedicated to those who died in World War I. Those Freemasons who fought in the front line in 1914 were still able to attend their lodge meetings.
Many Masons were military, and a number of the lodges were organised on a unit basis. So when a regiment got posted somewhere, the lodge in effect went with them, and they had what's called a travelling warrant. Their warrant entitled them to meet in different places according to where the unit was stationed. They needed certain items of furniture, the warden's columns for example, and these were constructed as a set and put in a little travelling box, so that wherever the unit went, so the lodge furniture went as well.
During World War II, Masons were offered the chance to carry these cards identifying them as Masons, perhaps in the hope that someone who captured them would offer fraternal sympathy and special treatment. Not every Freemason took up the offer.
Hitler, National Socialism, hated any organisation that they didn't know everything about. And here was an organisation they didn't know everything about. They didn't know who were members, they didn't know the details of what they got up to in their meetings, and so on. And Hitler didn't want that at all. He wanted absolute power. Even in the 50s and 60s and 70s, it took a bit of courage for a German to become a Freemason. When the Channel Islands were invaded, one of the first things the Nazis did was to go and investigate the Masonic Hall. They just plundered, and they took away all the furniture and all their records back to try and find out more about what Freemasonry was. And if the fact that it had secrets really, as far as they were concerned, it posed a threat.
There are about 16,000 Freemasons in Kent. It's an organisation trying to restore a degree of openness where, in the last century, its reputation was synonymous with secrecy.
We were our own worst enemies in the past, and by the past I mean perhaps 30, 50 years ago. When we went all private, we didn't respond to criticisms, and people then said, oh, well, no smoke without fire, they must have something to hide. Now we're quite happy to talk about everything except our secrets.
But why is it necessary, for instance, to roll up your trouser leg or to bare your left breast or...
The sort of preparation, actions, clothing, all this sort of thing, all has a symbolic significance, and it's teaching a lesson that if you promise to keep something a secret and you keep it a secret, that shows that your ethics are such that you would not then betray a promise. The ritual that we enact, we don't get to go too public about it, because I think you'd agree that if someone's going to become a member, it destroys all the mystique and everything if you reveal what it is beforehand.
But how did Charles Boxer become a Freemason in the first place?
You have to do the asking. People don't ask you to be a Mason. That shows that you want to know something about something that up to now you know very little about. Freemasonry in the past tended to be the great and the good, and so many of the movers and shakers were indeed Freemasons, the Archbishop of Canterbury or the head of a company or a leading civil servant. But nowadays you're as likely to find someone who is an aristocrat or captain of industry as you are to find someone who has a manual job. Freemasonry is universal.
So the secrets are out, well, some of them at least. That's what Kent Masons think and do, and this is where you can see and hear more of their work and beliefs. The Kent Masonic Library and Museum in Canterbury.